How far along are they? GuMiho still shows as AFK, which scares me a little. I mean, obviously this is in the hand of Triggers, guys. Trigger is the one who is in Korea. He said he wanted to play. He said he could get a Korean, and he said GuMiho be down. So this one is kind of out of my control. Really hope that GuMiho is here. He is in the channel, and I think he recently joined, but of course, Holy Squid, I'm glad you had fun. Fingers crossed. Maybe they're vetoing elsewhere. It is very late for GuMiho, but obviously they knew. And I also told them that if there's really no other way, they could have played at 11, 12. They could have given me the replays, but they said no. 7 and like the 2 a.m. is fine. You believe in Trigger the Goat? I just hope that it happens. Okay, I see a lobby. So I guess he's done his vetoes. We might be good. It's hard to do vetoes without GuMiho. They are here. GuMiho is here. Let's go. What a series. What a series for the Friday night, guys. Our men from Basilisk, the third Basilisk member in action today against GuMiho. It is late night gaming for them. How will that affect them? I don't know. But I'm happy that is happening. I'll go ahead and grab myself a little Friday night drink. I am going to a birthday party after all. It should be the main event, but it's always in order. And I didn't want to do the main event second because I feel like that would be weird. We've never done that, so that's just how it is. I mean, the other two matches are really good too. Of course, skill-wise, this is the best one tonight. Yeah, I'm the first to admit it. This is the best one, but live StarCraft comes at a price. And at least it is live StarCraft. I'll get it on, grab myself a drink, and then we do it.
Let's get it on.
And I also think it's very fun to let some other guys play for the slightly bigger prize money that normally, you know, they'd be playing earlier. So they've got something to look forward to. And on top of that, this is such a star-studded weekend with the Masters Coliseum, where we will already see the best video gamers in the world play it out for very big money. I thought it would make sense for this Big Brain Bouts to be a bit different.
Round 1. Fight!
Here we go. Bottom left side of Amygdala. We are looking at the main base of our Canadian who's currently living in Korea. It is very late over in Korea, but he was pumped to play a little bit of StarCraft in the Big Brain Bouts. This is Trigger. Honestly, I think we've only ever had one replay cast in the Big Brain Bouts, and ironically, that was the very first Big Brain Bouts we ever did. Number 1. The main event was Hero Marine versus Showtime, and back then I made the mistake of starting at 8 PM instead of 6 PM. But if you start at 8 PM and you've got mega long series, well, it was going to be like 1 AM for Gabe and Showtime, and they were not in the mood for that, they were not ready. So the very, very, very first Big Brain Bouts we ever did, they played like 1 hour earlier, but that was the only one. Other than that, every single Best of 5 has always been live, as far as I remember. And actually, no, well, the other one was live too, but we missed out on one series, and that was Future versus Sue, because Sue fell asleep. But that was like 20 weeks ago or whatever. And was still live, it was just live the following day. Top right side, guys, of Amygdala. We are looking at the main base. The man who opened over the proxy racks has a Reaper already in the main base. It is GuMiho, GuMiGod, the back-to-back Home Story Cup champ. It seems like he comes out flying with 2 probe kills with his first Reaper. That's not too bad. Look at these fighting words coming out of Pi. Look at Pi, guys, dropping the gauntlet in the chat. What a guy. GuMiho's Reaper gets killed. A little bit too greedy there in the end. Still a good Reaper, if you ask me. Because he got 2 probes from the very get-go. It was only a single Reaper investment. So I think that part was still good for Gumi. Losing the Reaper later on, obviously a tiny bit annoying. Are you ready for me and Pi? I am ready for you and Pi, but It's not going to be Big Brain Bouts anytime soon, mate. I think the list of people who would like to open any Big Brain Bouts and play in the lower MMR match is probably like 30, 40. I cannot just invite you again. I cannot just invite Pi again. So, if you guys want to play, if you guys want to settle your beef, we're going to have to do that outside of the Big Brain Bouts, or you guys have to be very patient. That could be true, Green Coral. There is a chance that I did not see that because I obviously stepped away for a split second. I was doing intros and I was yapping. So maybe the Reaper only got one probe in the main and the other probe died to an STV in the main base of GuMiho. If that's the case, less successful, but still not a total disaster. A kill, lost mining time. It's not a bad start for GuMiho. Trust me. He's not flying, but it's not a bad start. What Terran player would be a good match to be on Basilisk team? There are a lot of great Terrans out there, but I think the roster of Basilisk is perfectly fine the way it is. We have 3 full-time pro gamers, and they're all amazing, so... This is, by the way, a lot of wrecks. Obviously, one flew home. I've seen this build before. This is like a more extreme version of Ryung's build. Don't think we're going to get a starport here, guys. I don't think we're going to get a 3rd command center. GuMiho is going to try to keep the first one short and sweet. And if Trigger does not pick up on this, and I don't know how you would, the Observer is going to take such a long time. He never made a sentry. If the Stalker count is very high, you can obviously kite for days, right? You can have the Stalkers right in front of the Terran army when they move out. I don't know why the Cyclone is enjoying the view. Honestly, the Cyclone needs love, guys. It's in the spirit for Valentine's Day. Found a cute little spot at the ocean. Wondering where his loved one is. The Stalkers, they see one tank. The tank is exposed. GuMiho is going to pull the SCVs. GuMiho saves the tank. That's big. Oh, this is kind of smart. You can kill that Stalker, by the way. That's a bad warping on the side of Trigger. Oh, that's a good blink. That is a cute blink. But it's so nice to just have one unit on the other side of the map if you're GuMiho, because now you're going to keep the Protoss busy. You will potentially pull all these Stalkers home, and then these Stalkers won't realize that the bio move out is a whole lot bigger than what it normally is. Trigger does seem to think something is not quite right, because he's going up to 6 gateways before a Robo Bay, before a bunch of extra gases or a forge. But I don't even know if 6 gateways save you. I guess the Observer didn't see everything, but I guess the response against the 3 Rex and the 4 Rex would be about the same. GuMiho set up a trap here. Stalkers blink into the natural. I think GuMiho is not going to waste too much time on this, exactly. You're just going to take this little L, you're going to lose some SCVs, you're going to hope that Marines and SCVs take care of this, and it's all good, because right now you want to get this army to the other side of the map. Trigger, you got to be careful, mate. There's a lot of Marines here. This little move up by Trigger is not it. The Stalkers are going to melt. The 4 Zealots without charge don't stand a chance. And even with charge, they don't stand a chance. And it seems like Trigger is going to make the very mature decision to just sacrifice this base for now and buy some time and get way more units. Gumi is obviously Omega committed. Is Omega all in? Can a Guardian Shield save us here? Recalls gets activated. Charge is ready. The tank shots there are big though. Oh, I don't know if Trigger can do it. Maybe. Waiting for the stim to run out is actually kind of a cute play. Because obviously there are no medevacs. There will never be medevacs. And that means that all these Marines are low on HP. Can the Marines kill the Zealots quickly enough? It's close, but it seems like the answer is yes. Wow, GuMiho, what a guy. What a guy. Nice build. Well done, Gumi. Takes the 1-0 lead in this best of 5. Where the winner gets $80, the loser gets 20. That's gnarly. It's a frustrating one for Trigger. Somebody's at my door. It's my neighbor. I've got a package. I want to join the game first. Yeah, I see a lobby. Alright, let me just open the door quickly, guys, and give him his package. It's always a little bit awkward because a lot of people here in Zuidland, because it's a tiny village. So if you have something, you know, they don't just want to ring the door and take the package and go away. It's always like, hey, how are you doing? How's your evening? Whenever they ask me and I have somebody's package, it's like, hey, gotta go, sorry. But at least my neighbor, he knows what kind of a job I have. So. He watched the stream a couple times, so If I just open the door, give him a package quickly, and I run away. He won't think less of me. He knows what's happening. Alright, round 2.
Round 2. Fight!
Here we go. Frostline is going to be our map. Not Frost, guys. Not Snow PC either. Just Frostline. Top right side. Honestly, got close. I think had the right idea, just a tiny bit too late. Couple of good moves, unfortunately, barely not good enough. It is our Canadian Protoss from Basilisk. It is Trigger. Bottom left side. On this action-packed weekend, action-packed week or even month of Starcraft 2, back-to-back games opening things up at the proxy barracks. This is our Korean Terran, GuMiho. Trigger's probe is scouting. It goes over the beautiful logo. I won't quite find the barracks yet. Might find it eventually, won't quite find it yet. What if GuMiho just does that exact build 4 times in a row? Wins the series 3-1. Says thanks for the dough. I'm off to bed. Curious question, Roddy. What's the most amount of viewers you've personally casted to in your stream? So there are 2 answers to that. A long time ago, and I forgot when this was exactly. I got hosted once by the man who won TI for Team Liquid. I forgot what his name was. So basically, he said he used to watch Starcraft. He hosted me for like 8,000 people. And a little bit after that, he won TI for Team Liquid. So honestly, I think hosting me is very good karma. Now, I forgot his name, but it's so long ago. When was that? Basically, before the first victory of TI. Yeah, could it? I think it was maybe Matumba Man. That sounds about right. If he used to stream, I think it was him. But obviously that was just like for a couple seconds, right? And then everybody leaves because I was not playing Dota. I was playing Starcraft 2. Outside of that, I think the highest amount of views I've ever had on my personal stream was when I casted the bonus match of TSL between Lambo and Cure. TSL 8 or 9. I think it got up to like 6k. No, it was not Jerax. I think it was Matumba Man. That sounds about right. So the TSL one also last January for Masters Coliseum 7. When Saro was having his run, I had a crazy amount of viewers. It was like, that was the peak at least of 2024, but also close to my all-time peak. I got like 4,500 viewers last January for MC7. Didn't you have 6k last week? No. I got up to like 3,300 last week, so that's also very good. That's definitely up there, but that's not quite the peak. We've done the 3Ks many times, 4K has been quite rare. And then during the TSL match of Cure and Lambo, they had a 45-minute game on Desert Oasis, I think it was. We got up to like 6K, 6.5, something like that. And then obviously the raid of our Dota friend. So yeah, I hope that's a good answer to your question. So what happened now in the end? Because now I was deep in the tank thinking of the history of this channel. Widowmine Marine? No, Reaper, sorry. Peak overall in terms of ESL knowledge, yes. I've been on streams that had over 80,000 concurrents. Couple of the massive tournaments, whether it was Katowice or BlizzCon, like 80, 90k, I think 110k once. Ooh, what a start by Trigger as the 3 Stalkers get volley after volley off on the medevac. Jeez. Trigger kills the Reaper in the main, snipes the medevac in the natural. 0 damage, guys. Absolutely 0 damage. That is about as clean as it's ever going to be. Like, it can't really be any better than that. We always talk about the SC2 goats in game, but who's the SC2 goat caster? That would be In Control. No one can ever take the title away. Forever Jeff. And I will give myself a very honorable second place, but Jeff is the GOAT. That can be only one. Bunch of stalkers of Trigger are going to work on the bunker in the natural of GuMiho. Gumi has no tanks here because he opened up with that Widowmine drop. Good SCV micro for a little bit. He's still going to lose so much because the target fire by Trigger is excellent too. And I think Trigger might still get the bunker. Not quite. Still a mega start for the man from Canada. Don't spell it as GEFF, guys. He used to actually get triggered over there. It's Joff. I mean, it sounds similar to Jeff, but Jeff is actually the name of my brother, Jeffrey. Joff. It sounds like Jeff, but it's not the same. Trigger is going to easily pick up this bunker in the end. I mean, GuMiho already pretty much lost all the SCVs that could have repaired it. We do have 3 tanks, by the way, so where on earth are those 3 tanks? Did he just keep everything in the main? Was he that worried? I'm surprised that he didn't rally one tank to the low ground. So he basically just purely banked on the fact that Trigger would rotate his army back to the side, blink into the main, and then rely on the double tank. The Trigger doubled down on low ground aggression, and just like that, it takes the lead. Well, ties things up. Takes the massive lead in game 2, as it's over. Very, very short games between these 2 warriors of the night so far. I'm not too worried about it because I have the feeling that Milky Cow Chem could give us very long games. And if not, I think Mixu Night Phoenix has the potential to go pretty long. But obviously I do hope for one game that goes on a little bit longer than this between Trigger and Gumi. Gumi hitting us with the all-in in game 1. Trigger definitely not all-inning in game 2. It was more of a several moment, you know. You guys have all been there.
I was playing for a late game there. Instead, he died.
It happens. When you're blessed by Basilisk, once in a while you're looking for the late game. And unfortunately, your opponent just dies. 3 bases, couple blinky boys, a little bit of pressure, and before you know it, it's all over. If you represent a team like Basilisk, this is something that is going to happen to you.
Round 3. Fight.
Top right side of ley lines, we are looking in the main base of our very own. He has played in the Big Brain Bouts a very decent amount of times. Did not have the best record at first, but got a couple victories eventually. And obviously he's been on a very fun upwards trajectory. Might very well be better now than he's ever been before. This is Trigger. On the bottom left side, this man has been such a grinder. There's a lot of talk right now, obviously, about the uncertainty in the Starcraft 2 scene and the cloud of darkness, EWC, the future, etc. But this man is playing as much as ever before. In Masters Coliseum, in the Lulu Cup, in all the online weeklies, and even at a 2 AM Big Brain Bouts call time, he'll be there. It's GuMiho. One of the very few Koreans to make the journey to Homestory Cup twice, and hey, that paid off for him. Won Homestory Cup 25, and even more impressively, won Homestory Cup 26 as well. It's definitely been a little while that Trigger played in the Big Brain Bouts, but he has been active. It's just the main reason is because he's been living in Korea for a couple months now, and it's very difficult to get people to play around this time. Of course, he could always play as first match. He has asked me a couple times, can I be the first match? But I like to reserve the first match for like the proper community members, the pleb MMR as I call it in a friendly way. So the earliest that he could play would be the second match, and that's already like 3 AM for him. So he's not always down for that, but this week he said, yeah, no, I do really want to play this time. We were also trying to make an all-Korean or an all-Asian Big Brain Bouts happen this week. Unfortunately, a lot of Korean players are taking a bit of a break right now. That would have been on a different time. That would have not been starting at this time. I told Trigger, mate, any time that works for you, that does not overlap with Master Coliseum, works for me. I don't care if it's 3 AM on the Friday morning or 3 AM on the Saturday night. It does not matter. Whatever works for you. He tried, he reached out, but he said like, nah, I feel like this is not a good week. He's like, let's try again in a couple weeks and then we'll make it happen. So there is going to be a moment where I have to be here at 4 AM and there will probably be absolutely nobody in the chat. But for this week, we unfortunately could not quite pull it off. But maybe, guys, soon we'll get some great news and then all the Koreans are motivated again and we'll get a fun little Korean Big Brain Bouts. Obviously, there's a bunch of really cool Chinese players that I'd love to have, whether it's Cyan or Firefly or in the past Oliveira. I also think the Taiwanese guys are always a good option, especially Lemon seems to be very good and fun. What the hell is Gumi doing, by the way, guys? So it's a Reaper first into a 3 Rex, but very early Marauders with no concussive. Oh, that is most certainly a build. Yeah, Rex is active. Rex could absolutely play. I love Rex. He's cool. Very passionate too. One of the foreign language casters that's basically always out there, always covering the big events for the Taiwanese community, which I think is awesome. When can we expect to get big news within the future? I'm expecting that to happen within 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks. Good or bad. But I have a lot of hopium and copium that there will never be nothing. How good will that news be or how bad? I've got no idea. Still, up to this point, I've got no idea. It's such a weird build, by the way. Like, I just saw 2 Marauders stim in the middle of the map getting a couple shots off. I don't know if GuMiho went out, had some fried chicken and a couple beers with soju, but you don't often see 2 Marauders stimming in the middle of the map at minute 4. And not quite winning the fight, but I have heard through the grapevines that we'll know more soon and we'll know something. Is it good or bad? Legit don't know. But I can't say much more. We'll see. I've got hope. Roddy knows something very, very small, but I don't know anything concrete. But I don't even really want to say what I know, because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. But it gives me hope. I don't know if it's justified. I legit could still be wrong, but it gives me a bit of hope. I mean, I have nothing actual to say anyway, Luke Nukem, but yeah, I can't say more anyway. This is all I can say. Whatever I could say extra really doesn't tell you a whole lot. That could still mean nothing, but we'll see. But TLDR is, once we know, then maybe we'll get a nice little Korean Big Brain Bouts, or Chinese or Taiwanese. We'll figure it out. We're going to take a little look at how the Blink Stalkers of our men from Canada are going to do in this scenario, where it's not just a Raven and a bunker. It's also a couple of Marines and Marauders, but still no tanks though. I'm a tiny bit worried. It's very much like GuMiho to find yourself in this scenario where you're defending without tanks. He does at least have Stim, obviously, because he had Stim Omega quick. Careful, that is risky. Throw. Oh, no. The power of vision, guys, but that is so risky, GuMiho. You cannot be doing that. Honestly, these final 3 Marauders, by the way, are gonna slap. I feel like I've seen this before. Now, Trigger is trying to dodge every single Marauder shot. What a micro battle between these two. Oh my god. In the end, the Blink Stalkers and the Prism reign supreme. As GuMiho was picking up the Marauders, dodging the Stalker shots, Trigger was blinking them back and picking them up in the Prism. Gave me a little flashback to that legendary battle between Max Pax and Clem once upon a time on, was it Moondance? Or Inside and Outside? I think it was Moondance. It's probably the most hype micro battle I've ever seen. This one was pretty fun too. It may be 3 AM over in Korea, but the boys are gaming. Trigger is having a fun time as he continues to micro. He's got a High Templar with Storm, but there is nothing to Storm. It's 2 Marauders and a Marine. I've got 1 more High Templar coming in. Lands another Storm. Still same problem. Nothing to Storm. 1 Marauder gets a Stalker. 1 more Marauder is sleeping on the job. But it's going to be able to kill the additional Stalkers. Now it's 1 Marine. Split your bio, Gumi. Honestly, could have split his bio there, guys. Little bit random. GuMiho. Okay, misses that pickup, unfortunately. All fun stuff. They're swinging for the fences. We're 8 minutes in and it's 82 supply against 77. As another Marauder does get picked off. Couple of little mistakes there by Gumi. Could have microed a tiny bit better towards the end, but he is macroing very well during all of this. You look at the production tab, it's going halfway across the screen. And a game that should have been very good for Trigger now doesn't look that good anymore. The storms on like the one Marauder and the Marine. That gave me the 50 Cent meme vibe, you know? That Marauder is standing there, it's like, what is he saying fuck me for? What did I do? Like, why am I getting stormed? Since when do we ever storm a single Marauder? Now storming a full SCV line, yeah, that makes a little more sense. GuMiho is also going to go for a tiny drop. Lands the Widow line. Decent shot. Second one is later. Could get a big shot off. Will not quite connect. Now you could do the retarget thing. And he's just gonna let it fire in the end. GuMiho has a stronger army now though, guys. And upgrades are so important in this matchup. It is 80 bucks for the winner of this best of 5. This is not a tournament. It is not stretched over 5 days. It's 80 bucks. Single best of 5. The winner gets 80. The loser will get 20. If that was ever well deserved. It is for the guys that are gaming at 3 a.m. Economically, it doesn't look bad for Trigger, but it also doesn't look like heaven, no? It's like, yeah, you're up 4 or 5 workers. You've got Storm. That's the most positive thing about this game. The lack of upgrades is just horrible. The game looked so good for Trigger a while ago. He makes a blink, grabs a couple of them runners. GuMiho does not want to commit to that drop, so that's good for the Canadian. Another Widow Mine apparently landed in the natural. What kind of a shot did it go? It has 4 kills in total. 4 bases for Trigger though, that's obviously good. Is there a world where he drops a Robo Bane, a second Robo? 2 more gates, a Forge, a Bully Dark Shrine. It is a Robo and a second, or a Robotics Facility. The Robo Bay and the second Robo. TLDR. I think it's a good choice, but I am worried that GuMiho is going to hit him with a pretty devastating timing, where he's going to have +2 attack, +2 armor, and Trigger is going to have +1. Now Storm doesn't care about upgrades, but it's going to be really tough. It's just going to be really tough. Inexorable says that this is hell for the Protoss. Yeah. I see it, mate. I believe that this position is hell. Not that Mixu hell, but this could be real hell, where you're down 3 upgrades and you're relying on Zealots to tank and lead the charge. It hurts. I gotta say, guys, that whiskey really helps me. After another 7-hour day so far, and we've already done all those best of 7s and a bunch of ladder games. One little whiskey is like, yeah, okay, now we can go all Friday night. I'm, you know, Steinboken. I know that Reddit may not be happy, but they're not very often happy. I kind of feel like the Zergs are not happy, but to be fair, the Zergs were a bit too happy for a very long time. So I like it that they're not happy. But I see so far, it all looks pretty good. Protoss definitely does not look weak. Like, anybody who says that the buffs are not good enough, like, they're nuts. Protoss is more than fine, more than competitive. But the more I see, the more I'm becoming a fan too. Masters Colosseum, sure, it's lacking Terrans, but yeah, Clem got eliminated by a very silly 3-way tie. And to be fair, he didn't lose with his Terran. He lost with his Protoss, so... that doesn't mean anything. Maru, of course, could have done better, but he just didn't look like he was playing 24/7. I'm definitely turning into a bit of a fan, but I still want to see how the next set of, whether it's Max Specs Rainer, Max Specs Serral games play out, Hero Serral, Hero Rainer. Need to see a little more of that, but so far it all looks pretty good to me. Shin has been cooking everyone. This is not true. I wish that was true, mate, but Shin is mostly cooking in the $100, $200 little online one-day events. He's had a couple of really spectacular runs in those, and that's awesome. But it's also important that you bring it in the Lulu Cup, that you bring it in Masters Coliseum. And in those tournaments, he did not give home. He got eliminated very, very early without getting much done. An age-old problem for a lot of Protoss players has been dealing with Terrans that are on 4+ bases and is starting to get planetaries. Trigger is going to find himself in that situation. We were hoping for a longer game. We're going to get a longer game between these two. Our Protoss is maxed out, and obviously there are Robo units and there is Storm, but there are also 25 Zealots. And I don't really believe in maxed out Protoss armies with 25 Zealots. But sometimes these Zealots exactly find the right places. Like this spot here in the natural, as there's nothing to fight back. Okay, that's a 6 Storm on the SCVs that are repairing the planetary. Is this the way to kill a planetary? If there was ever a way, you would say this is the way. Not quite the way, but he did get 18 SCVs. Honestly, Trigger is flying right now, and he's still mega rich. 85 workers. Obviously, getting some upgrades as well. GuMiho does have 3-3. Trigger shouldn't be too aggressive. Oh, that's a solid Nova. That's a decent one as well. Now I'd almost say the Trigger needs to chill a little bit, because he is still down 3 upgrades, and these Colossus are going to melt like no tomorrow. The Immortals are going to melt. Trigger has done so much right in the last 2-3 minutes. But there's also a moment where you need to slow it down a little. If you're 80 army supply and you're down 3 upgrades, you cannot be aggressive against 122 army supply GuMiho that's on 3-3. Like, even Max Specs, even Hero could not pull that up. At one point, you do really need this supply. And yeah, he is rich and keeping GuMiho busy. As long as you're trading a little bit, I think it's okay. Just do not commit to any real fight. Because the real fights will never go well. That's literally impossible. This Archon has watched that Legacy of the Void cinematic a few too many times. Thought on taking the entire army, a few Novas from downtown. Of course, there is no ping involved in these matches, so GuMiho can pull the units away. I love that there are 3 Starkers somehow gunning down a Liberator behind the middle lane. In the end, the Marauder saved the day. This Observer, by the way, is cash money for Trigger. There's such a mega Observer that's just allowing him to be in the right spot over and over again. But now GuMiho is going to 360 no-scope Mountain Dews around this Protoss army. And those upgrades, it is still a 2 upgrade lead, are going to hurt more than ever before. Can we fire one more time with this Disruptor? Nope, that's going to die. Can we fire with this one? Yes. That Observer that was so good to us, in the end perhaps betrayed us a little. As GuMiho just had so many battle units. Now Trigger is still the richer one. Has a big bank. Is there a world, guys? Is there a world where Trigger cleans this army up one time and one time only and then wins? Disrupt this, DTs, Blinky Boys. Couple Zealots. Gonna be, how many ghosts are in the mix here? Couple, so they could EMP, but we can also scan. But we can only scan for now. DT is doing some good work here, guys. Every kill right now matters on the side of Trigger, because GuMiho is gonna have a hard time replacing these units, especially if there are 20 Zealots dancing in his natural. We are still... I mean, I'm giving up on this planetary, guys. This planetary will never die. Or will it? Or will it? No, we got it. Alright, the PF is dead. Meanwhile, our entire main base is in shambles, and this is where all the gateways are, or I want to say the vast majority of the gates, but honestly, it kind of looks like pretty much all the gateways. 11 out of 14 gates are in the main. Liberators are now taking control of every single mineral line. There are Zealots in the main base of GuMiho, who is trying to take advantage of that Terran Sim City. Really good positioning on the bio units. Might be good enough to eventually deal with these Zealots. What a game, man. 3 AM, 4 AM, 11 PM, it doesn't matter for these gamers. They are swinging for the fences. And do we now believe in Trigger's chances? Somehow we're firing Nova after Nova at a planetary. Uh-oh, this is gonna hurt. This is going to hurt. I've seen this rodeo before. Okay. Only one. We've got 13 Marauders, 16 Marines. Not all of them are here. That is a sweet EMP on the side of GuMiho. Trigger did still have enough energy for one more storm, but that's just one more storm. The Disruptors are here. Can they connect? still Liberators were landed Viking and Liberator. GuMiho doing such a good job and completely shutting this economy of Trigger down. Trigger needs to take it very, very careful here. Like one Nova at a time, try to get some guaranteed kills. GuMiho is standing out his main base right now to land it elsewhere. Get the Disruptors in range. Wants the Stalkers to get in a good spot to battle the Liberators, but it's so hard. This Archon is mega low in HP. They never look like they are, but this Archon is 2 Marauder hits away from dying, and it will die immediately. I'm starting to believe that the 3-3 bio army of GuMiho and the +2 Liberators are barely good enough. Trigger was so rich for a while, that Nova will not go off. Will this one go off? And nope, not a single Nova is able to explode in the middle of the Terran army. Now all that's left for our Canadian Protoss is a couple Stalkers, a couple Zealots. It was a great game. It was a fun game with a lot of good moments. Kudos to our back-to-back home Story Cup champ GuMiho for finding a way to close this one out, because it didn't look great throughout all of it. An amazing job, amazing decision making when it came to that like semi-base trade scenario. The EMP in the natural was massive. That was a big one. But I think just the decision to get the main, but also spread a Viking in the 3rd, get a Liberator on the 4th, get a Liberator on the 5th. A really fun game. Very cool stuff between these two. That's what we were looking for. Barryman says, what a throw. I mean, it also looked very bad for Trigger for a while, so can't just really look at that game and be like, what a throw. I mean, the man was down 3 upgrades against Terran, mate. No one ever looks at a PvT where you're down 3 upgrades and you're like, I'm going to throw this game. It's amazing to even make that competitive, because upgrades are so important in this matchup. Yeah, that planetary in the bottom side. That battle was going on for a while. That PF has some stories to tell when it grows up. And it's sitting around the campfire. And ley lines. A battle that will not be forgotten.
Round 4. Fight!
Top right side of Ultra Love. It's our very own Canadian Protoss currently living over in Korea. This is Trigger. That was a very fun 3rd game. Unfortunately for him, it did not go his way. On the bottom left side, the back-to-back Home Story Cup champ and apparently an absolute warrior of the night, because he said yes to a 3 AM best of 5. What a gamer. 1 map away from winning 80 buckies. It's GuMiho. I've been yapping so much this month, Alex. After this best of 5 is over, I want to take a little look at how many hours we have streamed. Now, obviously, not all of it was casting, not all of it was laddering, but you know, there are websites to look at these numbers. Probably solid 85% Starcraft, of which at least 60% has been casting, because there's just been so much stuff to cover. I feel it. I feel it when I'm done with streaming. I feel it when I wake up. I'm like, man, old man is putting in some hours this month. They can say whatever the hell they want. And sure, we're smacking some nerds in deadlock. And I'm playing a couple of very chill rounds of Mechabellum, but can't say that the hours were not done in December and January. Am I crazy for feeling like the Terrans suck right now? Who is considered a real contender other than Clem? It depends what you're saying, a real contender. Because are we contending for top 8, top 16? Then I can give you a nice list. If you're saying like, no, I'm talking about a contender to beat Max Packs, Hero, Serral, Raynor. Well, that list is indeed a lot shorter. Yeah. The Terrans are starting to suffer a little bit from the greatness of Clem. The way that the Zergs have suffered for a long time from the greatness of Serral. But they kept on making Zerg a little bit more difficult and a little harder and a little weaker across the board. And now starting to do that with Terran because this Clem kit is too damn good. And a lot of Terrans really feel it. They're like, man, this matchup got more difficult. I'm struggling more here, I'm struggling more there. And then you've got Clem who's like, ah, ça va, merci beaucoup, still pretty good. The DJ Khaled suffering from success meme is very, very, very accurate to StarCraft 2 players of certain races. But I would still believe, mate, in Maru. I will always believe in. If he is fired up, if he's got a big tournament to get ready for, I think only a fool would count Maru out. Like, I'm not a Maru fan as in, like, I think Maru is the GOAT. Because for me, Sero is the GOAT and it's undisputed. But I am a Maru fan in the way that I truly see his greatness. And the way that he has been on top of the scene for so long. Across so many mega different versions of Starcraft. Because being good in Wings of Liberty never meant you're going to be a top player in Heart of the Swarm. And take for instance Lilbo, an amazing Heart of the Swarm player. He was never going to be that great in Legacy of the Void. Because the games just require different talents, different skill sets. And of course some of it carries over, but not all of it carries over. Yet Maru has been able to be successful in every version. Which I just think is mega impressive. And I would never count him out. You give him a good reason to play a lot of Starcraft, he's going to be good again. I will never say that a man like Beyond can make a good run. Hopefully Bunny can really find that fire again and put in a lot of games if there is something for him to look forward to. And GuMiho obviously had a couple of very good results as well. Especially in smaller tournaments or in Home Story Cup, but GuMiho is also a real contender. GuMiho is going to give us some drilling claws. What makes you play Sero above Maru? Just the aura of invincibility. Maru has been absolutely fantastic, especially in the GSL, but often from time to time outside of GSL too. But just winning GSL does not make you the GOAT. Especially not if I think the best StarCraft 2 players in the world for the last 5-6 years have been outside of Korea. You know, like, if you want to say, like, up to 2016, by far and away, the highest level competition was in GSL, of course. Yeah, from time to time, it absolutely was. Sure, Stefano, I think, could absolutely compete with the very best. Nerdshow could compete with the best. There was an era where Naniwa was definitely not the best European, but was still making top 8, top 4 in the GSL contest. So it was very competitive, but it was not head and shoulders above the foreign scene. But up to 2016, you could say it was the most difficult tournament to win, absolutely. But after that, like, foreign StarCraft has been so good for so long at this point. And for Cyril to do the things that he has done against both the Koreans and the Europeans and the Americans when Neep was great, in my eyes, makes him the GOAT. And of course, peaking on moment where it matters the most. And IM Katowice twice, BlizzCon. These are not tiny tournaments, you know. These are the biggest tournaments of the year, and Sarah was there, or going to Korea and winning not one but 2 GSL versus the Worlds in a row. Sarah's list of accomplishments is silly. GuMiho is having a great time here, guys, with a classic, an old school Terran strategy, the Widow Mines with drilling claws. And if you have just Blink Stalkers, this is actually so annoying to play against, as GuMiho finds one of the bigger Widow Mine hits you see. You know, in this meta, it's actually very good. If you can pull this off and not die at home, this stuff is so good. Because everybody makes a bunch of Stalkers, runs them to the other side of the map, and then only leaves a few Stalkers at home. Then Widow Mines with drilling claws are mega. GuMiho gets 16 worker kills in a 6-minute game, and that Medevac is still alive, and 2 of the Widow Mines are still alive. This is really great stuff coming out of GuMiho. 4 Stalkers blink deep into the main base, get a couple of volleys off, and 2 SCVs die. But Trigger definitely, I'd say, in a bit of a pickle. This is of course a serious investment on the side of GuMiho. You make a bunch of mines, you make drilling claws, but not even been the biggest investment, and he's already more than happy with it. During the most competitive, I don't think that's true though, Dr. NDO, because if you say that he was so dominant, why doesn't it show? Where are all the foreign victories then? Where are the victories in America? Where are the victories in Europe? If you talk dominance, you talk about Serral's 2018. Like, that is dominant. Where the man goes a year without losing a single series. That's dominance. Winning one specific tournament but losing in all the others is not dominance. I don't think it's really up to debate. And a lot of people have wrote very in-depth articles about it. And I'm not talking about the fan list of Miesenhauer, but I'm talking about people that have truly done like some proper analytics, number crunching. Let AI do his thing, and you know, all the results are overwhelmingly in Serral's favor. I'm not saying that as a man from Basilisk. I like Yona, but I'm not biased in that regard. If I really thought somebody else was the GOAT is the GOAT, right? You would always have to respect the GOAT of your game, of your profession. But to me, it's Serral, and it's not that close. Trigger is gonna try to buy some time with a few zealots. Drop 3 zealots in the natural. War Prism gets picked off in the main base, though. That is painful. GuMiho is just getting further and further ahead. I don't think you're being biased at all with the dot. Makes you seem like you're sarcastic. Like, what's my bias there, mate? Like, what do I get out of saying that I think a Finnish guy is the GOAT? Do you think that I get a $50 bonus from Basilisk if I sit here and I tell you things that I don't believe in? Mate, if there was a Korean with a list of accomplishments of Serral, I would give it to him, hands down. I'd be like, holy smoke, this guy's the GOAT. And I've been here since 2010, you know. I've been casting tournaments since 2010. I've been streaming since 2012. If there was anybody with the list of accomplishments of Serral, I'd give it to him. And I don't care if he's American, Canadian, Mexican, Brazilian, Finnish, Korean, or Chinese. He'd be the GOAT. It's just, there's a guy from Finland who did all of that. I'm really not biased. It's Zealots and Stalkers leading the charge here for Trigger, but GuMiho's tank setup is gnarly. Gumi also a very impressive man who's been doing this for so long. When did Gumi win his GSL Code S, guys? Was that 2012? Do I have that correct? 2012, 2013, this man won a GSL Code S. Yet here we are in the year 2025 and he's still putting on a show, winning home story cups last year. Not one but two. I gotta say, Trigger is doing surprisingly good here. Those Zealots were absolutely amazing in tanking. One Immortal shows up, fires at nothing but Marauders and tanks. What a fight by Trigger. Holy smokes, I'm so impressed. I legitimately did not think that he was going to have a shot, but he does, and he ties things up. The man holds. What a hold, what? This looked so grim. This looked so grim. I'm very impressed. No upgrades. You know, when this fight happened, we made this blink, but then we realized that we're not gonna get it, and we run away. I was like, yeah, okay, this 55 army play against 81 plus 1 against 0-0. Wow, what a hold by Trigger. These Zealots coming in from the right. This blink was very good because he gets the tank, he gets the other tank. The Zealots were just goated. Took a long time for the Zealot. Obviously, this Immortal shoots at nothing but armored unit, tank, Marauder. What a hold! Holy smokes! We're going to game 5. It's been forever. Amazing hold. What did Ron in said? Talking about life, I think life is very goated. I think what he. Whenever I say this, people sometimes get angry, but I've said this a million times already, so I'll gladly say it again. What he did was wrong, and he deserved to be punished. But life as a player for his time was spectacular. I feel like life was Reina before Reina was even a thing. And if life kept on playing, I also believe that if the motivation was there, that he'd still right now be one of the best Zergs in the world. I still think he'd have the speed. I think he'd have the multitasking. I think he'd be an absolute animal. I generally believe that life could be world class still in the year 2024 if he kept on playing. He seemed that talented that fast, and it almost felt that he was limited by the game that we were playing back then, which didn't always allow all the expressions of skill that Legacy of the Void has in the year 2025. I don't know if he could have been better than Serral, because I think what makes Serral is not speed, is not multitasking. Serral is everything, and I don't know if life would have been everything. It requires so many different skills to be a world-class late-game player, to set up all these amazing engagements with all the spellcasters. But life is... I think life has always been a lot more like Reina than he's been more like Serral. So, well, yeah, maybe. It's possible, I don't know. We'll never know. Oh, as Starcraft fans will never know, and it's an absolute shame and tragedy that he did what he did and that he disappeared, because I was a massive fan. I thought he was amazing. Just like Maru, right? They were already pushing each other back and forth back then. I thought they were amazing.
Final round. Fight!
There's only one DJ Yaku. If only you had a group of Roddies. But there isn't. Haha! A little flex. Top right side, guys, of this beautiful map. We saw it earlier in Holy Squid versus Tassad, but back then we didn't see a whole lot, just a little 4-gate. Maybe we'll see a little more. Who gets the 80 bucks when it's almost 4 AM over in Korea? Is it this man, our Canadian Protoss player? It is Basilisk Trigger. Or is it this man, the back-to-back Home Story Cup champ and somebody that I do absolutely adore? I'm gonna say in the early years I liked him, but he was never really one of my favorites. But the longer that he keeps on doing his thing, you know, still qualifying for stuff like the Esports World Cup and Katowice's and winning Home Story Cups, I just became a bigger fan over time. I think it's awesome. He's doing things in his own way, and he does it at the absolute highest level. It's GuMiho. It's always fun to talk a little history of StarCraft 2. And of course, everybody's always allowed to have their own opinions and their own takes. Some of them are just wrong. You know, I want you guys to know that you're allowed to have your own opinions. And some of them are up for debate. You know, I see why you want to debate Maru as the GOAT. I see Rogue, I don't really see, honestly. I think that's a silly take. Maru, I can sort of see. And then there's like other compliments or theory crafting about how good certain players would have been. Like how good could Rain have been if he kept on playing? How good would Parting have been if he never stopped, if he never took the breaks and he always played? Like this is really fun stuff that you can just theory craft over and you can fantasize over. Some takes are just wrong though. I hope you guys know that. But it's always fun. It's fun to hear different opinions, different wishes, different wishful thinking. You're going against... Artosis does not believe that Rogue is the GOAT. I really refuse to believe that. He just knew that that would really get you guys going and click on his videos. He gets a few more views. And then the algorithm favors his videos. He played all of you. Artosis is a smart guy. He does not believe any of this. Torzane versus GuMiho in the GSL is one of my favorites. Artosis is a content goat. Look at the amount of donations he gets. Text to speech all day. Artosis is goated in his own way. Plays all of you. I didn't agree with you and then I did some research. Yeah, Sarah's the goat. Alright guys, Game 5. Let's talk a little bit about Game 5 because these two guys have put on a great show for us. The winner of this best of 5 gets 80 buckies. After that, in the beginning of a new best of 5, we can talk more about GOATs and casters and viewers and greatest tournaments. But it is a very aggressive GuMiho here on Erholm. Trigger is probably going to be a little bit surprised. Like, there's a tank in my base. Yeah, there is a tank in your base. I love the Adept leading the charge, soaks up the shots, allows the Stalkers to blink forward, kills the tank. Kills the medevac, and that obviously means he's going to get every single Marine. Well, the only question is, at what cost? At the cost of a gateway. That was not on my bingo list. And 7, maybe 8 workers? No, it's just... Killing a gate is so random, no? 7 probes? Yeah, sure, that makes sense. And then normally Stalkers, Adepts, yeah, but the gate is kind of random. Serious investment though on the side of GuMiho. And at this point GuMiho has no more map presence. GuMiho has no potential to do anything on the other side of the map. There is a Raven heading up. It's going to take a while before it makes it there. Can Trigger kill the bunker? We need mass repair here on the side of GuMiho. And Trigger kills the SCV that was building the depot. That's kind of cute. GuMiho truly cannot afford to lose this bunker. We saw earlier in this best of 5 what happens if you lose that bunker. GuMiho is going for the Stalkers. Trigger just blinking them back one by one. So far so good, I think, by GuMiho. As long as he does not lose the bunker, he is going to be happy. Repair is amazing. An on-siege tank is going forward, but it's kind of smart just to get a couple of quick shots off. Seems like we F2 the Raven home. Thank you to Yomas for the 10 months. And I saw my man Vinny Grippa with the 59 months and a tier 3 sub. That's tier 3 subs, guys. Got like 40 legends out there. Tier 3 every month. Absolute champs. Thank you to John Laswell for the 15 months. The auditor is definitely doing their thing. This hurts. And Trigger is not that rich. And you know what's the downside of taking these fights against the bunker forever? It's like, sure, you're draining the Terran piggy bank, right? But you're often left with a whole bunch of stalkers that are low on HP. And this means later on, if you make a slightly questionable blink, they will all melt immediately. Or if the game goes on for a very long time, EMPs hurt, and then your stalkers have no HP at all. Can we save us from the Protoss Cabal? I don't think it's quite that bad yet. Ooh, Zealots killed the tank. Trigger dropped some Zealots out of his War Prism. Charge wasn't even done yet, and the man killed the tank. A little Rico happening to the base at 3 o'clock. Raven continues to be annoying. These damn Ravens, guys, hiding behind the main base. If ChatGPT agrees with me, then I gotta be right. These robots will have never seen as many games as I have, guys. I don't care how advanced AI becomes. I refuse to believe that any of them have ever seen the amount of games that I have, so I'll take my opinion over ChatGPT. Who's even behind all of that? The Raven continues to be mega annoying. Trigger had enough of it, dropped an auto turret. The funny thing is that auto turrets actually get drained of their, or the shield battery actually get drained of the energy rather quickly by those auto turrets. We've got Zealot charge, we've got Blink. This could be the final fight of the best of 5. I hope it's not. I mean, Trigger getting the tank is kind of big. But GuMiho is very marine heavy here, which is fantastic to deal with those Zealots, to make those Zealots disappear. But it's a real problem if we can't kill the Colossus. Things are starting to look pretty good for the man from Basilisk. He's definitely not there yet. Oh, Colossus hit. Turbulence done in 2 seconds. Now it's ready. GuMiho is going to have a hard time keeping this base alive. GuMiho, I think, knows that he has a few Vikings right now. Spreading his units. Marines need to be in the back. The Marauders need to be in the front. The Marauders need to soak up those Colossus shots. But at this point, it's like one of these things where Trigger also knows that that's what GuMiho wants, and then GuMiho also knows that Trigger knows that that's what he wants. So you're getting a very weird little micro dance here about who engages who attacks first. In the midst of all of that, GuMiho loads up 4 Widow Mines. That could definitely hurt the Protoss economy a little. Nail-biting ending, guys, to this best of 5. 4 AM for these gamers, but nothing stopping them. Widow Mine gets dropped in the natural, potential big hit. Very tiny hit. Widow Mine gets dropped in the main base. Potential decent hit. The armies are flirting with each other. I'm keeping an eye on it. Very tiny hit. Oh, that's an anti-armor missile for the Aegis. Oh, I don't know about that blink. The Zealots have all been affected by that anti-armor missile. And that actually means that they disappear even quicker than before. Can this Protoss army make it home? GuMiho is chasing. You have to be so careful with the Marines chasing the Colossus. But that anti-armor missile may have very well won GuMiho at least the fight. Is it the series? The fight for sure. The series, I'm not quite sure yet. Man, it's close. It is so close because there are still Widow Mines that are being annoying as well on the other side of the map. One Colossus has survived. The medevac dies. The other 2 medevacs have been working overtime. Trigger, our Canadian goat. No, that's Scarlet. I love Trigger, he's amazing. But Scarlet is the Canadian goat. Can't take that away from her. But he's our Canadian Protoss goat. Sorry, Hawk. You know, you're just not around for long enough. It's Trigger now. Can he close it out here? The Viking gets picked off. That was one of the only Vikings that GuMiho had. But GuMiho has been trying to get this third commencer up and running for a while. What I love about Trigger is that he's so confident with what I feel are weak Protoss armies. It's like a bleeding Colossus, a bunch of Zealots and Stalkers in 0-0. And Trigger's like, yeah, let's go up to 5 bases and attack. It's awesome to watch, but it's also crazy. Holy smokes, that's so small, by the way. Suddenly you're here. And GuMiho also realizes that suddenly he's here, as Arrowholm, one of the new maps, is our deciding map. Zealots are melting. 1-1 right now for the buy unit. Great hold position on these units by GuMiho. Widow Mines get double connection on the Colossus. By the way, GuMiho, he's got another base here. GuMiho doesn't know. Just like Scotty. You guys think Scotty at this point knows? Well, he still doesn't know about Fiona, I mean. Probably not. A Neil Prism. A Neil Prism flies into the main base, drops 2 Zealots. GuMiho down 20 workers, but up 20 army supply and up an upgrade. This Marine finds the pylon. Trigger continues to be aggressive. Honestly, this aggression scares me, guys. 2 out of 3 Colossus are low on HP. And Trigger's army without the Colossi is legitimately damn weak. And GuMiho now has 24 Marauders with 1-1. Loads everything up. What a series, man. I mean, this series started off a little bit underwhelming. You know, we had a couple of short games, but 3, 4, 5, like, we're kind of... The boys are banging over here, no? What a way to kick off this amazing weekend with a lot of Starcraft and some MMA to look forward to. A lot of football. The NFL. It's a great time to be alive, guys. We wouldn't hate a couple of great announcements for our favorite video game, but outside of that, it is just a fantastic time to be alive. These guys really have been gaming. GuMiho, I felt like, was very close to pulling the trigger a couple of times, and at that point, he's like, nah. You know what? Let's get more units. Let's stack up a tiny bit. Get some Vikings, get some Ghosts. Has never built an armory though, so this game will not go on for a whole lot longer. Ooh, this is very awkward. What the hell was that? Panic EMP. So choky. Oh, these stims, they hurt so much. I mean, he's got 4 medevacs, 5 medevacs, but that doesn't do anything. If you're stimming 100 supply of bio like that, there are a few Zealots running on top of SCVs. Gumi, it is now or never, mate. And Trigger should realize that it's now or never. Another monstrous stim that drops this army to like 40 HP. For GuMiho, it truly is now or never, and it's starting to look like never. Unless he finds a magical fight. Trigger with a Nova, another stim. That is going to do it. The man from Canada wins the best of 5. Looked like he was down and out, but he has turned things around with a great hold on Ultra Love and a win on Arrowholm. Holy smokes. Fun series. Really fun series. Trigger gets the job done. I'm going to go ahead and swap back to Europe. GuMiho will still get 20 buckies for playing. Trigger gets 80 for winning the best of 5. That was a fun one. Really good stuff between these two. I enjoyed it. I hope... and my promise to GuMiho is that as soon as we do an all-Asian Big Brain Bouts on a much better time for them, we'll give him at least the second to last match, maybe the last match. Depends who's available. Maybe they can just do a rematch. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing more of GuMiho Trigger, but big win for Trigger. Good for that League ranking. Oh, why do you have so many people, by the way? Why do you have so many people? 2,100 viewers. What's happening over here? Shout out to Basilisk for the 10 gifted subbies. Why do we got 2.1k people, guys? Did I get hosted by Matumba Man again? GuMiho is the 75% favorite, but it is our Canadian Protoss Trigger who gets the job done. We've got 2 more best of 5s on this month of StarCraft. Trigger gets the job done. That is correct. Next up, guys, our co-main event. It is Chem again. Will Chem keep on winning? The Mexican Zerg is literally living off the Big Brain Bouts right now. He's been on a sick win streak. And every single time I tell him I'm gonna give him a big step up in competition, he DMs me immediately. He's like, no, don't do that, man. Don't give me that big step up. Like, I just got lucky. This time, guys, I had Milky Cow reaching out to me. Milky Cow is a Russian Terran player who was very good a little while ago. Then he got addicted to Deadlock. Honestly, how does that happen? I don't know. Could not happen to me personally, but Milky Cow got addicted to Deadlock. We lost him. He became a Viscous player. But he came back and he said, Roddy, I'm ready for the Big Brain Bouts. Let me play. I gave him the option between a couple players. And he said, what I really want is Chem. All right. So, let's see. Let's see if he's the one who can stop Chem. I had a DM from another European Terran. I won't say who it was. But basically, somebody DM'd me said, why are you giving Chem Milky Cow? Chem will just keep on winning. I was like, well, you know, if that's the way it is, let it be. No, it was not you, though. I won't say who it was. You guys wouldn't guess who it was. But basically, somebody said, why are you giving him Milky Cow? Chem will just keep on winning. How are we going to do this with servers, by the way? Chem is on Europe. So I guess mostly Europe. Maybe like Europe, NA, Europe. Is that fair? This is a bit of a tricky one. Russia versus Mexico.